Hello to all. It's a pleasure to be here and to share with you and the members of the group. I would like to welcome, and I'm really happy to share the table with Mr. Gaspar. Thank you for the invitation. It's the first time that I'm around such a table, and this has a lot of importance, and it's a pleasure for me as a representative to be representing our mayor also.
Pues comentarles brevemente, nos comentaron exponer esta temática.
We will present the themes regarding the Quebec Roadmap. We have a new urban project for the OWHC in 2024. Our theme are protected buildings that are in a state of abandonment. More specifically, the priority theme for us in the historical center of Morelia.
Pues Valladolid, como saben, hoy Morelia es una ciudad que fue fundada en 1541.
So now it's called Morelia. Morelia is considered as one of the most important cities of the colonial era. For its pink rock buildings, its temples, its parks and squares, and mostly its cathedral. These buildings are from the 15th, 16th, and 18th century. Morelia has been named as part of the World Heritage by UNESCO in 1991. The capital of Michoacán was built on 271 hectares and 3.43 square kilometers spread over 219 and that reveal. And that's why this city has joined the World Heritage named by UNESCO in 1991.
Gracias. Dentro del ranking de las ciudades patrimonio, vemos que estamos en el cuarto lugar después de Querétaro.
In the ranking of Mexican cities, we're in fourth place.
Posición, lo cual también es una de las ciudades con más de trascendencia también en el tema de turístico, y lo cual turístico cultural.
As much on the tourist and the cultural side, we have many visitors all throughout the year. And the number of visitors is increasing, is always increasing. As a government, we need to protect our historical center. And we need to make sure every day that we must take care of this. So here are the demographic data within the historical center. So for the distribution by gender, 47.1% of men and 52.9% of women, which is quite normal in the other environments also. So it's quite similar. It's the same as the general population. We have
Los grupos de edad prevalece en su mayoría pues los adultos jóvenes y
we have 6,300 economical units. There's a lot of young people and teens, and the education level is mostly university level. This image represents the historical center. The green line is the historical center, is the whole of the historical center, and the blue line is the transition zone. This is part of our urban development plan. You see within the green perimeter, you see red dots that represent 167 buildings that
por abandono.
are
Esta es
at
la
risk
temática
of
principal y aquí
collapsing because
entramos
they
un
are
poco al
abandoned.
fondo del tema. Están perfectamente
So they're
ubicados.
well
Cada
situated.
uno de
We have a
ellos, más
directory
adelante vamos a ver también
of
una
these
descripción
buildings.
con todo lo que lleva esta investigación que ha estado haciendo el Centro Histórico,
And
la
as
gerencia
part
del
of
Centro
a
Histórico.
survey that we have done at the on the historical
De
center
estos
on these
167
167
inmuebles
buildings that
en
are
abandono,
abandoned,
34 de ellos son
34 are
baldíos, son
vacant
terrenos
lots
que no tienen
without
construcción,
any constructions, and
143 son inmuebles que tienen
143
construcción o que tienen una barda
contain
por fuera, pero
constructions
estas se encuentran
but
en
are
ruinas.
in a state of ruin.
Aquí vemos una
So
más
we have
detallada
an overview of
concentración
the
de los datos.
concentration of our
Un
data.
total de 1,113
So
inmuebles que tenemos.
1113 building that we have in the
Es
historical
la
center.
especificación ya cada
And
uno
here's
de
the
ellos. En su
situation
mayoría, el
of each of them.
43%
So
es habitacional
43%
y
is
el segundo
residential
es comercio. Y así el menor,
and
pues
31%
es
is
servicios.
commercial.
Adelante. Gracias. Muchas de las cuestiones o de las
Many of
circunstancias
the
que pasan
questions and
en Morelia
circumstances
no
that
puedan
make
tener
Morelia,
estas personas que no habitan dentro del centro histórico o que no
so
quieren vivir en el centro histórico, se
we
debe a
lack
veces
people who want to live
ruido,
in this
ambientes
historical
sociales,
center, and
básicamente los problemas
the
políticos y
causes,
sociales que creo que todas las ciudades
it's
sabemos
because of the manifestations, the
tenemos
social
alguna
and political
experiencia
problems, and we have a
ello
lot of experience
y el
in that
efecto
domain. And
secundario
these
pues
are
obviamente es la
side
depresión, ¿no?
effects,
que
and
requieren
people
irse
are leaving the
a otro
buildings
espacio.
to move towards
Representa,
other
el problema
neighborhoods.
representa un
So the
2.15%
problem
del
today
territorio
represents
por lo que estamos
2.15% of the
haciendo
territory
y es en
that
lo que
we're
pedimos
trying
su ayuda
to
para
solve.
solucionar y resolver esta
And that's
problemática.
why we're asking for your help to work in this way.
Gracias. Las causas del deterioro de
The
este
causes of
patrimonio,
the
pues las naturales
deterioration of
que
the
hablan de
heritage. So we
antigüedades,
have
accidentes
natural
de deterioro,
causes,
falta de mantenimiento,
the lack of
causas
maintenance,
climáticas, pues también
and
tenemos
the
las naturales, terremotos, huracanes,
growth of
lluvias,
harmful
vientos extremos, causas
flora.
intencionales, pues que haya
We
algún
also have
dolo o algo por querer hacer
earthquakes,
alguna
heavy rain, and
pues
there
mal
are
uso del
also
inmueble,
intentional
la
causes,
modificación de los usos
bad
del
uses of
suelo,
the buildings and
los
usage,
restaurantes
bad
también,
use of the land.
aunque son una gran
And
parte
even if it's part
atractivo
of
para nuevo turismo, a
it,
veces pues
even
también
if
al
it's in
estar
a
dentro
tourist
de una zona
attraction,
habitacional,
there
pues
are
también
illegal
generan
restaurantes
algunos problemas.
that cause
Y
many
demoliciones
problems in
injustificadas
residential
y
zones.
pasionales es parte de lo que estamos también muy al pendiente, incluso la misma sociedad, los mismos vecinos nos avisan a veces cuando hay algún inmueble que está siendo
And we
intervenido
are being
y que
alerted by neighbors when
pues
we
para
need
ello
to
tiene que tener,
respond
contar con una licencia para
towards
hacerlo.
certain buildings to make sure that
Causas del
everything's
estatus
in order. And there are
económico-social de
already
las familias que viven a
are
veces
also causes
ahí en el centro, pues
that
no
are
tienen los recursos
socioeconomic,
económicos
economic, a
suficientes
lack of
para tener
resources
alguna
for
rehabilitación.
people who live in
También
the
contamos con
historical
muchos
centers. There
adultos
are also a lot of
mayores que
older
están
people
sin una
that don't
percepción
have
económica
receive a pension,
o que tienen una pensión, pero esa
and
pensión no
other
es
people
suficiente para
who
darle
receive a
mantenimiento
pension but
a
is
su
quite
inmueble.
limited.
Las causas por el estatus jurídico, pues
So
son
there's
también los
also
inmuebles
the
que
legal
estamos en
status
de
of the
algún
people. So
testamento
these are
y pues tienen que
buildings that
llegar
are
un trámite
intestate,
jurídico y que
and
lleva algún tiempo
they're
por lo
under
mismo los pleitos familiares
legal
pues son
processes that take a long time.
muy seguidos.
And there is
Y pues
also
también
the
la falta de
lack of
educación y la
education
información,
and
pues bueno,
information
la
and
información
a
es
lack of
muy
values.
importante tenerla a mano. Nosotros estamos trabajando también constantemente en la
So we are
difusión para
working
que cada vez más
hard
personas que viven en el
so
centro
more and more
sepan qué
people
trámite
can
tienen
be
que hacer
aware of the
para poder
administrative processes that
intervenir
people must go
su
through
inmueble. Y esto, pues,
for these
el
buildings.
principal personal es la gerencia del centro histórico para que se pueda dar.
So it's
También
at the
la
heart,
pérdida de
it's at
identidad,
the
esto nos lleva a ello, ¿no?
historical
La falta
center
de
that they
cultura,
must
pues
turn to. So
ignorar las
it shows a
raíces y
lack
de
of
dónde
culture and
venimos,
an
el
ignorance
legado
of
que
our
vamos a
common
dejar al
roots
centro histórico,
and
pues es
our
algo que tenemos
history
que
and the
toda la vida
value of the
cuidar más
historical
y
sector, whether it's
hacer
material or
prevalecer en nuestra
immaterial,
sociedad que se
intangible.
cuide un poco más adelante. Esta es una ficha como las que
Here's
les
a
comentaba, un
sheet, as I
ejemplo de
mentioned.
las que se ha
This
dado a la
is as
tarea
an
la gerencia del
example.
centro histórico. Vemos en el
So
punto
we
número
have a
uno la
directory of the abandoned
macrolocalización. Punto
buildings.
uno,
So we can see a general overview of the neighborhood and a more detailed overview at 1.2. So we can see it on the map. For example, this one is in the central zone. And it's tagged as a building in the historical center. We show the sector in the city, the name of the street, the address, and the legal aspect. Is it a private property? And also the number on the registry. So we see the summary of the visit, and it shows the state of abandonment of the building. This is a building near City Hall in the historical center, and we have many buildings in this state. This is another example. So we see that there are no buildings. It's only a facade that is at risk of collapsing. We want to evaluate, assess the restoration of this building so we can benefit from tourism, so they can know the historical center a bit better, and also promote the investment possibilities. We have many examples of these abandoned houses, but we also have examples, success stories of buildings that were restored, like hotels, boutique hotels, and restaurants. And these have generated an economic reprise in the neighborhood that generates jobs. And we are currently in a transition towards a historical center that can welcome more people as residents. So the goal is to densify this sector. Here's another example of another hotel that has been that was constructed recently. It's the same hotel that we see here. Here is the inner garden. It's the Soledad Hotel that's in the historical center. And these buildings become tourist attractions because we have kept the customs and the like the Day of the Dead. So the hotel is being decorated accordingly. So inside, the outside, and the outside is being protected. Here we have the beautiful towers of the cathedral. And the flowers that are quite typical of our region. Here's the Casa Grande house that's at the center of the historical center near the square. That was an important intervention, and there's now a restaurant. And now we're at the heart of the issue, and this is why we are asking your intervention and your help, so we can have a localization project of the owners. We can localize the owners so we can communicate with them. So you have success stories in your own cities. So we need to see how we can get in touch with the owners to create this identity and this will to develop a conservation project and to develop an identity and to make sure the buildings are maintained. So a project for detecting political and financing problems, support in terms of architecture, and also how can we involve other national institutions. So there's a need of a project to invite investors so they can create organizations to save these buildings. So we can promote and raise awareness towards the owners, so there's a better connection between the different owners and the investors.
Y pues estamos logrando o queriendo también tener más recurso
We
propio,
want
¿no?
to try to have more resources
Del centro histórico
so we can promote investment in this historical neighborhood. Thank you so much.
Muchas gracias.